Good evening and a very warm welcome to all of you to this series of parenting sessions that we do for you every single month. Um, I'm very happy to let you know that today we have a very interesting subject that we're taking up for this workshop today. A topic or a subject in parenting that leaves a lot of parents like you either intrigued and, if I may say so, challenged sometime. So today we are dealing with habits in children. And for that, I have Prabhat Mandal, our expert parenting coach. Prabhat comes with experience of over 8 years into parenting, and he has consulted and touched the lives of thousands of parents and children. And he'll be the best person to guide us through this process of understanding the habits of children and working it in a way that's best for them and for us. So may I invite Prabhat? Prabhat, please come in and take this over.
All right. Thank you, Samina, for the lovely welcome and good evening, everybody. How have you all been doing? Is my voice clearly audible?
Yeah, Prabhat, you're well audible.
All right. Perfect. So I'm very excited about the topic today because in decade and half journey, one question that I have been getting almost every day from parents about something or about habits. Okay, it could be, we'll talk about it. What habits? Okay, we'll dwell there. But this topic has been hitting me. I thought, let me discuss this today. Now, let me set the background and the ground up front here. I have not come ready with some answers. That means I don't have ready-made answers. I want to have a nice conversation with you, and in that conversation you may get some answers, you may get some clarity, and we will also look at, do we really need to take this habit seriously or not seriously, or what's underlying the habit, or what's the root cause, what is that we need to deal with. So this is the way we are going to dwell deeper into the subject. Okay, and for that I need from you your lovely participation, active participation. If you participate, then we can have a great conversation. Else it will be a monologue, which will be very boring for me also. Okay. I'm sure it will be boring for you. Okay. All right. So I think that in the invitation, I had put a line that collect and all the habits that bother you in your child. So has anybody done that? Somebody wants to share, just to set the ground, what these habits are. You can either unmute and talk or put in the chat window, either ways.
So you want to know what habits bothers us? Is it, Prabhat?
What I had put in the invitation, that list down all the habits that that bother you. Okay. So from there, so anybody wants to share? Okay, let me prompt you from my side. I'm also a parent, so I also have equal amount of, if not less, if not more. This bothers me also at times. See, my children do not listen at times. Especially if they are doing some activity, and if I call them for food, then I'll have to call at least 5 times. Then only they will show up. Then they will say, okay, I heard. Okay, they will not show up. My wife gets totally ticked off. What is this? 10 times I have to call you for food. Right? Now, whether it is right or wrong, good, bad, we'll see later. But likewise, we have many such habits. There could be many habits. I see in the chat window, frivolous nature, naughty, okay, reverse approach for getting a yes. So whatever you say, they will say no. So you say no, they will say yes. Fantastic. Forget about child's habit. Parent also has a fantastic habit of saying everything no so that you get yes. Lovely, lovely. Okay. Okay. So let me bring in, let me share my screen so that we go back to my mind map and then we'll start from there. Okay. All right. Okay. Can you all see my screen? Okay. Lovely. So I have my first question. Thanks, Samira, for confirming. So first question I have, while we are dealing with habits, what is a habit? Can anybody want to take a stab at it? Like, what could be a habit? How do we define it? How do we identify it? You can either unmute and talk.
Vivek here.
Yeah, Vivek.
Something which they tend to do it repeated, and they don't ask or do take permission for any. So whatever they like, they do it as such. Maybe right or wrong.
So if they do it repeatedly for some time,
yeah,
or if they do it without any permission on their own wish.
Exactly.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Vivek, for sharing that. I see in chat window also this repetition is getting echoed. Any repetitive action, or and this habit is not only for child, it's for us also. So anybody, if somebody does for repetition or repeated, that is termed as habit. The question comes, how many times we need to repeat so that it qualifies to be a habit? Can I do it 2 times and it will be a habit, or do I have to do it 200 times? Is the question clear? So how many times we need to do certain thing? And don't worry about right and wrong answers. No punishments for wrong answers also. Okay, it's a different session. All right. Okay. So silence means, did I ask too difficult question? Board exams have not started yet, so don't worry. This is not too difficult. I'm not scaring you. Okay. So how many times? And that question bothers, and it brings a very interesting perspective. When can I call it a habit? I hear from parents, my child is sucking his thumb yet. Hopefully it doesn't become a habit for lifetime. So I ask the question, okay, how often your child sucks his thumb? Oh, when he wants to go to sleep, then he sucks his thumb. Okay. And how long has it been happening? Oh, he just started 3-4 days back suddenly, and I'm worried if it becomes a habit that will go for life. Right? Are you able to resonate with me? And likewise, there could be different habits. My child started lying. I hear this. I hope lying doesn't become a habit. Okay. And there are some more habits like this. Have you heard about this? Have you seen this? You know, hopefully nails will be there. Some pieces of nails still will be on the hands. Okay. And then there are some very unhygienic habits also, like this and a lot of other things. This lot of variety of habits you can see.
To add your point, Prabhat, my daughter started sucking the thumb right from the birth. Okay, so I could see like in the initial, she would be turning to the side to take the thumb in her mouth. So
Okay.
so it actually started to stick with her until now. She's going to be 4 years, but I can't stop her from putting the thumb. I used to take it out, okay, so she gets anger on me.
Ah.
But it looks cute because she uses the 2 fingers like Krishna, okay.
Ah. So you're
So
happy there.
yeah, as a kid, I'm feeling, but like I'm just worried about like what if it continues of if she grows still if she continues it as a habit.
Ah, right. Okay, great.
So
I
what
didn't get your
happens, right?
name.
Her name is Arudra.
No, your name.
My name is Vivek. Sorry.
Ah, Vivek. Okay, right. Because I've shared now, so that window
Okay,
doesn't
okay.
show up.
Yeah.
So
Actually,
great.
she what I feel is like she goes to her imaginary mode whenever she thinks of something. Okay, so so I think there is some connect.
All right. See, I love the way you have observed. You have observed when she sucks her thumb or 2 fingers, she is in thoughts. She is in
Yeah.
deep imagination. If you have reached this far, I tell you, you have gone very, very far ahead from many people. It's very easy for you to deal with it. Okay. This observation is so important and so critical. I just love the way you did it. Okay, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you too.
All right. In the chat window also is like, okay, keeps his bed sheet in mouth in order to sleep. Okay, and sometimes bed sheet and some I'm not wearing a collared shirt, but some people will have collar in the mouth. Some children will have that collar in the mouth. Okay, or variety of these habits. If I start taking a list of it, I'm sure 2021 will be over. Okay. The list could be so big. Okay, so now why do we call it a habit? Because we have been seeing it persistently for some time. Now there is no definition, firm definition ki after these many repetitions we can call it a habit. Somebody gets worried after 2 or 5 times, and somebody is not even worried after a couple of years also, when that thousands of repetitions might have happened. But let's see where we can go. Okay, so what is a habit? That's which one of the definition that is coming from the conversation is what is done repeatedly. Okay, the repetition is the key, though we don't know how many. So I have some more questions. Let's look at it. Okay, one of the observation, see the kind of habits that you have mentioned so far. Is there any question? Okay. So these habits that has been shared so far, like sucking your thumb, taking the bed sheet in the mouth, it could be nail biting, it could be some could be, I hear this very disturbing habit from parents is, or other parents are disturbed when they share, is bedwetting or lying or nail biting or whatnot. One pattern, if you notice, there is a pattern in this. We are only talking about so-called which is undesirable, and we term only that as a habit, right? So our observation, so the question comes, can we call habits only as those repeated things which we don't want, which is undesired, or even desired ones can also be called habits? Any answers to that? Both. Thank you, Vivek, for answering. Yeah. But our observation is biased, if you notice. We only are scared of those habits or pay attention to those habits which are undesired. Desired ones, we don't pay much attention to that. Right? Like Debashmita is saying, Yeah, desired ones are also our habits, but we don't pay much attention to that. For instance, if your child sleeps early, okay, it's a very happy habit. Many parents would love it. I'm blessed with that. My children sleep very early. So that's a good habit. Okay, so called, if I may call good and bad, so this is called good habit and others are bad habit. There could be other habits also. For instance, can we call addictions as an habit? There's a question. So let's explore. So let's qualify that. Okay, does addiction have repetition? Certainly yes. Right, it happens for some time, so certainly it is a habit. Okay, perhaps the intensity of this habit is very high. If you don't get it, you start showing tantrums, or maybe some severe tantrums. That's where addiction comes in. You can't live without it, whatever. It's like, and let me call something even more natural also. Breathe. Without breathing, we cannot live. Can we say we are habituated with breathing? There is a repetition here, by the way, and very, very high repetition. Okay. At the same time, we take food, we eat. Are we habituated with eating? We sleep. Are we habituated with sleeping? Right. So this question brings in that only repetition is not sufficient to call something a habit. Right. So good habits like music addiction or foodie addictions, I want to eat nice, tasty variety of food, or maybe outside food or home food. I remember a parent complaining, this is long back, 2000, a decade old, 2010. This parent called me and says, my son is very weird. We go outside to eat pizza or burger or pani puri, and my son says, take me home, I want to eat roti and dal. Mother is really disturbed about it. What is this habit of eating home food? When we go out, then also he wants to eat home food only. Very bothered about it. So it is not that only bad habits, so-called bad habits, bother us. Any habit that doesn't go with our desire, our expectation, bothers us. So it's not about good or bad habit. I'll tell you one more habit. Let me share. So this call comes again, it's a distress call. Okay, all these habit calls, I get distress calls. So this mother reaches out to me. She attended my workshop in 2005. She reached out to me in 2013, after 8 years. So the child was at that time about, I think, 10 or 11 years. So in 2013. So 10 or 11 years. So this child, and they were living in US at that time. So she said, there is a problem. This child, my son has learned that crossing the road, always you have to cross when there is a marked crossing, there is a zebra crossing. You have to cross there only. So when we are going on the road, we have to cross the road and there is no vehicle. It's a by lane, it's an inside street, yet he doesn't cross the road. He walks up to the next zebra crossing available, however far it is, and then he crosses the road and then walks back to the same place. And it bothers the mother a lot. What is this habit? And I was like wondering, parents complain my children do not follow rules. Here the child is following rules and parent is bothered about it. You see, so we are bothered about those things which go against our expectations, and these expectations, we keep changing it conveniently as per the situation or as per our wish. If I'm not going very harsh on the words, but our wish, we conveniently keep changing it. Not that too often, but then if there is no vehicle coming, you can cross the road. But the rule says you have to cross near the zebra crossing. So conveniently we change it, right? Or we call it common sense. That's also a convenient way of hiding behind the reasons.
If you take that favorite bedsheet away, he don't sleep. He yells at us.
Oh, see, so that's a nice observation. Hang on. Huh? So that's Ravi, right? Ravi Shankar shared, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. Thanks, Ravi Shankar. Thanks for sharing that. So nice observation. And if you observe almost, let me not say almost, all the time, behind these actions, there will be something behind it. It could be a need, it could be a situation, it could be a context or whatever, like deep thinking, going to sleep, or maybe scared, maybe worried, maybe sad, maybe what? Maybe confused. People scratch their head when they are confused. People keep tapping their finger like this when they are thinking, right? And different kind of things. So if you notice, behind these repeated actions, there is something else happening. And your analysis or a positive direction starts the moment you start observing what is happening behind these actions. What is behind these actions? What's additional happening? Okay. For instance, the inheritance from our genes. Oh, that's a nice excuse all of us give. Okay. Nobody can counter that excuse. Starts hitting and screaming on top of his voice when he's angry or wants something. Yeah. So his repeated action is, hitting and screaming. But rightly observe, he really wants something, and he wants it very strong. His need is very strong there. And his observation is, the moment he wants and shows those actions, it gets fulfilled. So he does it all the more. Right? And I'm still not going into right and wrong and good and bad. All I'm observing what is happening. Okay, let's get away from good and bad discussion and right and wrong discussion. Let's understand what is happening behind it. So if the child is either chewing the sheet or sucking thumb or screaming, hitting, biting nails, whatever, okay, but there is something else happening there. Not only child, with us also. Okay, with us also, we keep doing it, something. And that action, repeated action, perhaps helps us to do that task better. Like by chewing the sheet, you go to sleep better, right? By screaming and hitting, you are able to put your demand or able to express your anger better, right? Or you're able to. I recently I spoke to one of the parents. She has a daughter. She is almost teenage, 13 years, yeah, teenage, and she is bothered that my daughter is picking up my nail biting habit. I mean, she has the nail biting habit, so it's now so far she is picking up now. So she was bothered about it. And I asked the same question, when do you bite your nail? When do you get to do that? When do you feel like doing it? She says, should I talk about my daughter? No. I said, talk about you first. She says, when I relax, when I'm in the mood of relaxing, then I bite my nails. I said, there you go. Your repeated action helps you to relax better. And I asked her, when do you do that? He says, most of the time when I'm watching TV. I said, see, when you're watching TV, you're in mood of relaxation, and biting nails helps you to go deeper in the relaxation, and you don't even realize that you're biting your nails because you're so relaxed there, totally lost in that relaxation, fully. Now, when you're able to do your task better, would you call this repeated action undesired action now? Like somebody said, music also. Without music, I cannot study. So This playing music, repeated action, can you call it wrong or right or good or bad or undesired, desired? Right? And we as a parent get into judgmental mode. Not only parent, we keep judging others also, everybody around. We keep judging. And we don't notice then we have got this habit of, identifying habits. So we also have a habit right now. Our repeated action. What is behind us? It makes us feel big. It makes us feel ki, oh, I'm caring for it. Like Vivek said that he used to pull his child's hand away when the fingers are in the mouth. Why? Because I feel I care for the child, I'm loving the child, so I'm taking it away. I care for the child. I'm not still countering on right and wrong. All I'm saying is that's the intention behind it, and that's what we do that. Right? So behind our repeated action, which if you call it habitual action, there is an intention behind that also. That means behind every repeated action, there is an intention. And that intention helps you to do that activity better. Now, can you call it undesired? Some habits are by nature attached to them, and some are probably by watching us, the parents. Again, maybe, I don't know until I observe it. Okay, I'll give you an example, a very simple example, perhaps, say, from my life, okay, where what it could be. Say, in my school days, whenever report card comes, okay, I had this habit of picking that subject which I have got the highest marks, only talk about that subject. Okay, that was my habit. And that subject used to change, couple of marks here and there, it used to change. So the moment I bring my report card, I go and very happily, I got so much marks on this subject. And guess what? What's the answer from my parents I get? Any idea? Any guesses? I'm sure you would have faced in this situation also.
They might be asking like, what about the other subjects?
No, not other subjects only. Very specific question. They were habituated with that one question. What is that? They used to ask very simple. Your question was very right, very close. They used to ask me, what about maths? And that's it. I never used to get the highest marks in maths.
Actually, what one habit I used to do, like for similar situation, whichever marks I used to score, I used to keep that paper in the top, the lowest score paper on the below, so that I would feel like, okay, by seeing the highest mark, they will be happy, so they will neglect seeing the other papers.
You see, so there is behind that repeated action. And I remember one point of time, I got similar marks on pretty much all subjects. Right? I didn't even talk about it. I went and gave the paper to them, a report card to them. I was not even talking about any subject. They were wondering like what happened. They looked at it and they say, that's why you're not talking. You got same marks on all subjects. 1 or 2 marks here and there, similar marks. Now, point I'm trying to bring in here is, when I was talking about one subject, I had a need to highlight one subject and subdue other subjects so that I don't get called for maths specifically, which I have not got as good as marks in other subjects. And the moment I saw there is no need, or there was one instance when I had got highest in the maths itself, I didn't go and say I've got highest in the maths. I simply gave the report card in my parents' hands. Okay, this is the report card. And they were wondering like, why are you not telling which subject? So they saw maths is highest. So I didn't have any need of any other subduing or highlighting anything. I knew what they want is there. So no massaging required anymore. So I had a repeated, a repeated action for years, and suddenly it vanished because there was no need. Now, the point I'm trying to bring in here is there is a need behind these repeated actions. Okay, and this is how. So when does it show up? When there is a situation. I had a situation, and that's how it showed up. Child wants to sleep, child gets it. Child gets angry, child does that. Child wants to get into deep thought, child does that. So this is the situation to observe. That's when it shows up. And then what happens? And then what are we left with? That's what we need to understand. If the repeated action is undesired, we get bothered. And invariably, we call the child. We start name calling and screaming and scolding, and all those things start. Or we do some physical action. Okay, take out your hand, don't bite your nail. We point out, which the child doesn't like. Almost all the time, child doesn't like it. So we are also little disturbed, and the child also gets disturbed. Like Vivek said, that the child starts scolding, gets angry. Why are you taking my fingers out? Right? So that's what we are left with there. Right? Now, I want to summarize this. This is one point. There is a purpose my repeated action is serving. Are you with me so far? Okay. And there is a need. Now, if you identify the need, will you still call it a habit? Because the moment need changes, that action changes. Will you still call it habit? See, the whole need of definition has gone now. Because invariably, this repeated action will have a need behind it. Okay. And what is the child doing? Child is using that repeated action as a tool. As a tool to do that task better, or whatever, getting more engaged at it, faster, better, more engaged, or at least doing it, serving the purpose. So child doesn't want to do that repeated action out of compulsion. Child is using that tool consciously to do that task or do it better. Are you with me so far? Or are you there, or everybody gone?
Okay. We can hear. Please go on.
Okay. So great. Thanks for acknowledgement there. So that's the core of this habit. Okay. There is nothing called habit. There is a repeated action which is used as a tool to serve a specific purpose. The moment need changes, your action will change. Okay. So as a parent, if we want to look at our children and deal with this, we, instead of stopping that repeated action, let's identify what's the need that child has. Okay. And if the child is serving it, using this tool, if the child is little grown up also, say 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, even bigger, there is a chance of having a conversation with the child. You are using this as a tool to do this, to accomplish this, to achieve this. Okay. And the biggest part is, I'm okay with it. Because you're using as a tool. And I'm okay with it. At the same time, what could be other ways of doing the same thing? A mental balance? No, that's too strong a word. Let's not go into those technical words also. Let's be very simple. Very simple. Okay, there is a need, and because the need is, I want to do certain action better or do that action. That's as simple as that. Okay. And as a parent, when I'm having a conversation with my child, I'm okay with that because I know the need is being served. Child, in fact, be proud that your child has identified a way on his or her own to serve that need. And that's not an ordinary thing, that's an extraordinary thing. Right? Like with Deboshmita's permission, Deboshmita, we had a conversation about eating habit of with your child. Can I quote it here with your permission?
Yes, sure. Go ahead.
Sure. Thank you, Deboshmita. So we were having a conversation. She said that her child used to take hours to eat, and there was a pattern. After eating half the food, he'll take forever to finish the food. Right? And what was his need? He wanted to quit eating after eating half. And what's his tool? Delay it. Keep mouth. I won't even open the mouth. I'll keep the food in the mouth only, or I'll vomit it out. Right? So this is how your child is so intelligent to find ways to serve his or her specific need. The problem happens where we cannot connect with that need. The moment you connect with the need, you will figure out maybe alternate ways also. First, you'll be okay with that action. And second, you'll explore alternate ways to serve that very need. So you will not be disturbed. Right? So, and that brings a lot of peace to parents. Okay, it's a tool, it's not a habit. It will not remain lifelong. The moment need goes away, it's done. You'll have a different action, altogether a different action. Right? So, and that's what parents need to identify. Now the problem is, how do we identify the need? What's the way to identify the need? If the child is a little bigger when you're having a conversation, if you're not able to observe, how will you find the need? Smaller children, you have to observe only. Bigger children, what could be other ways? Any thoughts? Let's do a quick activity now. So did you see any of my repeated action during this session today, right now? There are some repeated actions. Did you notice anything?
Asking confirmation questions.
I'm asking confirmation questions. Okay. So how will you find the need?
By answering.
How will you just have this conversation with me now? How will you find what is my need?
You're looking for something relevant to your questions. So if you're getting that, you would be like your search ends.
That's your assumption, right?
But you want us to keep engaged and attentive. That's the reason.
Again, that's coming from your mind, right? But how will you validate that that's my need?
Okay, you like finding the answers like through different ways of approach. So whenever we give our like you wanted everyone to try what you're trying to preach the things.
Correct, Vivek. But that's again coming from your mind.
Okay. So, but everyone, it's like everyone thinks on their own.
I get that totally. If it is my need, who knows it better?
Only
right.
you.
How will you find out?
That's difficult. Like only while having conversation with you.
By questioning back. By questioning back. Yeah.
Right. You have to ask me.
Okay.
Likewise, your child. We parents start assuming, right?
Right.
But
right.
if the child can talk, let's ask the child. Let's ask the child. If the question is becoming heavy, let's break the question into smaller questions. Help the child to answer and let me know his or her need. Like Ravi said, a child puts the sheet in the mouth, and child is only 1.5 years. So it's too early to ask the question. But has this child been, let's say, 5 years? I would have had a conversation with the child. Okay, what happens when you take the sheet inside the mouth? How do you feel? How does it make you feel? Okay, and I'm just throwing ideas. Okay, this may be totally different answers from the child, but based upon an authentic conversation I had with a parent, this parent went and found, and he found out the child feels secured. Child wants to hold something, so that I want to feel secured. I'm scared, so I hold the sheet itself, and that's why I hold it so tight. And the moment they figure out, then you have to figure out why the child wants to feel secured. Why is the child feeling at the first place insecure? What's the fear about it? Right? And you can work on it. The moment you figured out, okay, there is a need here, let me figure out what's the fear. Right? What's the fear? It could be like, okay, let me lie down next to you. If you're scared, then hold me and sleep. Right? That could be one of the ways, and there could be many other ways also. But at least I'm exploring now. Oh, child is scared. Child has some fear. Let me help the child get over it or deal with it. Can I offer alternate solutions? Though I'm okay with that, but can I offer alternate solutions also? Because at times the sheet may not be, that putting the sheet in the mouth may not be healthy for too long. Right? So rightly said, if the child is little grown up, have a conversation, ask those questions. And these questions should not be interrogation. It should be with an intention to find the underlying need. If you get the underlying need and you can offer an alternate solution, now do you think it will bother you further?
No, sir. I think it's a good way to handle things.
Right. Even if you're not able to offer alternate solution, does it still bother?
At least we know the need, right?
Correct. You see, your parents become so relaxed. I know what's the need here. Right. And the moment fear goes away, I'm just using for an example, the moment this fear goes away, that this need to hold something tight while sleeping will vanish. Will simply vanish. Right? So that's what is the whole realm or world of habits. And habit is a very nice curtain behind that all of these we hide. Okay. So final point. Who will summarize it for me? What did you get? What's opening up for you? What's the thought in your mind now? How do you feel?
So habits can be both good and bad, but we only notice bad habits, and those are undesired because just they're undesired, and we will make them we can get the attention of that. And once you notice that, instead of panicking, just observe the motive behind it or reason or need behind it. And if your child is old enough to explain you, try to inquire, not interrogate. Try to talk and try to get some nice info and try to help out or give some alternate solutions. So make him or her comfortable, so that with alternate solution also she will get out of that habit, if that habit really bothers her health or something like that.
And if that is a habit, first of all.
Yeah.
If it is a tool.
That bed sheet he's keeping, right? Like my worry is like it affects his health. It's not a very healthy habit in long run. So
And
every week,
is it still a habit or it's a tool?
it's a tool for him to make him sleep.
Correct.
Even though I am making him sleep, he still keeps it. Maybe he feels it as a comfort.
Maybe there's another need which she needs to express. Maybe it's too early for the child to express. But with time,
he likes it so much. He don't want to use any other bed sheet. So we had to make it dry very soon before he uses.
So he has a need.
Yeah.
Right. And habits can change in due course through life.
Yes.
It changes
So
with.
now what we are doing is we make sure that for every 5-6 days we will wash it and get it dried. Because we cannot stop him from, because he don't sleep and else rise and get.
Right. And given times going on, perhaps if you want, you can actually wash it little more frequently also. Only for her, that sheet, because she's putting in mouth. Right. So maybe a little more hygiene you can, if it is needed, you can take a judgment there and do that. Right.
Yes.
So that, how does it make you feel? Are you still with that same heavy load on your head, or you're feeling a little more relaxed?
Yeah. I cannot ask him why he's keeping it, but I was relaxed. Like the way I opted is, as I told, like, you just wash it every week to ensure, like, he only uses that. I will make sure that his sister don't use it. Just trying to make it as hygiene as possible.
Perfect.
So we'll see like how long he gets into that.
Perfect. Yeah, he'll find out. And a point to add, when you offer alternate solutions, and if the child rejects it, then?
Yeah, one thing I like, my daughter, I have an elder daughter, like what he does, he don't want to eat by herself. I say, like, if you don't eat by yourself, you don't get taller. If you want to get taller, you don't get energetic or stronger. But still he gives an alternative. I will eat 50, he had to put 50. But still she doesn't eat it. She comes with immediate solutions and makes me to feed her.
Okay.
So I will try to provide some, provide some points that he gets interested to eat. Like, as I said, you will be stronger if you eat by yourself. In school, no one will feed you.
What's the age of your daughter?
She's 5 years old, sir.
5 years, right? So now what will you do after this session?
I had to see the need. I actually did that, sir. What I found, he has this habit of watching some cartoons and eating, like, because he doesn't he's eager to eat. So I understood that. So the moment I feed her, he can eat her cartoons, and when I had to eat herself, he cannot watch them, because I say, like, you spill your food. So that is one motivator behind her on me to feed her.
So the point is, she doesn't want to spill the food. You see that? And why she doesn't want? What happens if she spills the food?
More than spilling, so she doesn't want to lose watching cartoons while eating food. I said I can watch afterwards, but still adamant that she says, I want to watch now only.
Which she will, but if she doesn't pay so much attention and she spills the food, what happens?
Definitely her mother and me else at her, why are you spilling food?
And she doesn't want to face that unnecessary trouble of getting scolded.
Yeah.
You see that?
You're right.
Who will want that? Nobody will want it. So she has figured out a nice tool. Okay, you feed me. It will never be spilled.
True.
So TV is not a problem.
Yeah.
The problem is spilling and getting scolded. Right? So you need to pay attention to these finer points. Very fine, very little, very subtle points. And always get from children in their own language.
But my doubt is how to make her realize that you had to eat by herself. I will tell, like, it's already 3, 4, you're 5 now. Why you still don't? And one more thing I noticed, if I make her eat, she will reduce the quantity to 50%. That is what makes me to feed her. I was worried. She eats, suppose, like 10 morsels of food. If I ask her to eat by herself, she will eat only 50%, 5.
So Debashmita, are you still on?
Yes.
You want to share your solution to Ravi Shankar?
Yeah, it worked for me, like to a certain extent, that I used to leave. Initially, it was a war time for me, feeding. But then after half the food, after he consumed half the food, I used to continue. And then after a certain time, when he used to really throw tantrums, I would leave. So gradually, like 50% became 60, 60 to 70. So I was able to convert into at least till 75%. I'm able to finish. The rest, I leave him because I know that, and the next time he will not be like this. Again, mom has come to trouble me. So yeah, I have left him, and the best part is that wartime has changed. Time still time consuming, but definitely less than the hours that it used to take at that time.
Right, and that's progressive growth.
So whatever game he was playing with me, now I also play with him. Fine.
Super, super.
Really, really
Lovely. Just lovely, Devoshmita. So Ravi, the very simple. If half the food, she is, then stop there only. Next time she'll be more hungry.
Okay.
She'll ask for more food. She's grown right now. She'll ask for food.
Okay.
Right. But if you feed from your own interest, she knows it's taken care. Why should I bother?
Yeah. So if I ask her to eat, like she'll say, okay, give me only few morsels, or get
That's
me.
okay. Let her be. She needs to be. See, there is a need there. You need to connect with the need. Once you connect with the need, if you really want to change the action, change the need. Okay. Create a situation where need is changed. If the food served and half of the food gives her all the nutrition she needed with the full food, then she needs to eat only half the food now. Her need is changed now. Your need also is changed. If she eats half the food, she gets it full. So no need to feed now. Right. And there could be, again, that's a different topic altogether. But then the moment you connect with the need, there could be many such solutions possible. Which will work, you have to try out.
I have to watch cartoons while eating. So in order to have that in place, she's playing all these games.
Okay. Maybe some other time we can connect with this topic at times. Okay. So good. Lovely. Now, quickly, I know time is up, but very quickly, one sentence from all of you. What did you get? What's that you're going to do? Take that one action after this. That one action that you will take after this.
No, first watch out what are really habits and occasional things. Maybe I'll focus more on that.
Lovely, lovely. Okay. That's Dhirendra, right?
Dhira.
Dhira. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Devoshmita is saying, try to identify the need for any habit. Yeah. Don't try. Identify. You may fail. Identify again. Okay. Trying is a phenomenon. That means you don't want to do that. So identify. You fail, you do it again. Ask more questions for exchange. Yeah, lovely. Yes. All right. Okay, good. Now, there is a link shared for feedback, and there is a link shared for WhatsApp group. Please join there and ask any specific questions if you have for any specific habit. Any specific habit, if you have, ask the question there. Maybe I'll address it there. Okay, do join the WhatsApp group and do give the feedback. Hopefully it was good use of your time.
Yeah, absolutely very nice session, sir. Thank you very much.
Lovely. Okay, thank you, Ravi, for that feedback. I'm glad all of you like it. And please go ahead and identify these repeated actions, identify the need, and have fun. Okay, have a pleasant and see you again in another session.
Yeah.